Hi everybody, Dan Illman here with some exciting news. DRF Formulator, the gold standard in past performance information, is now free, exclusively on DRF Bets. Join DRF Bets with the promo code WINNING, get a $250 first deposit match bonus, a $10 free bet, and free Formulator already uploaded to your account. Access Formulator's premium features, including sortable trainer stats, race replays, personalized trip notes, and lots more. Free Formulator, exclusively on DRF Bets. Dan Illman, Mike Beer kicking off a 50-cent pick 5 at Oaklawn Park on Apple Blossom Saturday with the $150,000 Oaklawn Stakes, not to be confused with the Oaklawn Handicap. The Oaklawn Stakes is race number 8. 3-year-olds going a demanding mile and an eighth. Let's take a look at this field. $150,000 is the purse. Stellar Tap, the number 2, goes out for Steve Asmussen, runner-up last time out in an entry-level allowance. This is a horse that's run against stakes competition in the past, has found it a little bit too tough, but doesn't catch the toughest field here.
Yeah, they're going to come back to a stakes race with him here. The first 3 stakes tries, they're all in graded races. He was no match in any one of those. This is probably a better spot. Boy, he's still pretty tough to take at any kind of short price.
Let's take a look at the Timeform US Pace Projector. And considering the fact that Home Brew might be able to get to the lead in a situation that could favor horses on or near the early lead, and the fact that he was the favorite in the Smarty Jones on New Year's Day, I wouldn't be surprised if Home Brew ends up the chalk at post time.
That's certainly possible, Dan. We'll see if he can rebound out of that Smarty Jones. He didn't run well on that race, but it was a wet track. He couldn't make the lead that day. Probably makes the lead in here.
Clancy's Pistol, the number 1, breaks from the inside post, going to try a mile and an eighth. Claimed by Robertino Diodoro, 3 starts back for 30, immediately paid dividends in a $50,000 starter allowance. What'd you make of his last race behind Stellar Tap? There wasn't a lot of pace for him to run at. He was on the outside. I wanted to see him do a little more, however.
Yeah, I wasn't particularly taken with that performance. He had won his prior 2 starts against weaker horses. I know he won right off the claim for Diodoro, Dan, but it doesn't feel like this horse has necessarily improved all that much for the new connections, and he's going to have to improve to beat this field. This isn't a great field, but he's got to take a step forward.
Stellar Tap, the number 2, ran second in that non-winners of one other than finishing ahead of Clancy's Pistol. Similar situation. I mean, he was last after a half mile in a race that didn't have a very fast pace. He came on for a second. We're going to watch that replay right now. Stellar Tap is the gray horse. He's kind of in behind horses on the second turn. He gets to the outside. He will get up for second. I don't know, Mike, isn't this a horse that can be had? And I'm not sure about a mile and an eighth for him. I know he's bred to get the distance. He's been beaten 3 times as the favorite since winning his debut.
Yeah, I mean, I share all of those same concerns about him, Dan. It's funny, too, because I really liked his career debut at Saratoga. I thought he ran really well winning that day for Asmussen. I don't like any of his starts since then. And I know he's been in some tougher spots, but I'm at the point where I just don't feel like this horse is that good. And he's going to be one of the favorites in here, and I'm betting somebody else.
Yeah, 5-2 or thereabouts. I think it's a little bit light. I'm going to keep an eye on him. Maybe it'll cut him back to shorter distances. Maybe 7/8 or 1-turn mile is where it's going to be hit him right between the eyes down the road. The 3 is Kuchar. This horse graduated at Oaklawn, a little green this day on March the 13th. Let's watch the son of Uncle Mo score in his 3rd lifetime start. And he's sitting on the outside here, and he's going to have to work. And you're seeing he's going to lug in a little bit. Kind of works against himself a little bit in the stretch, but you can tell he's got a little bit of potential, and they're going to put the blinkers on to get him the focus.
Yeah, he probably needs those. I thought he ran pretty well in here. I liked the trip that he pulled, and I just liked how game he was to just prevail at the end of this race. I thought it was a real step in the right direction for just a horse who's very lightly raced. He's got a little pedigree, and it looks like he's got a lot of raw talent as well, Dan. I feel like this is an interesting spot for him. You want a little trainer stat for this horse or not? How about a trainer stat for Rudy Brissett?
I'll take one. Can't hurt.
Last out maiden wins in dirt routes. He's 8 for his last 20. And the ROI is $6.75. So these are horses. These are what 7-8 to 1 shots are winning. And these a lot of those are allowance horses, but there's 2 graded stakes winners in that sample as well. It just feels like this is something that Brissett, I think he has a pretty good handle on which horses to step right up off of maiden wins. And this is one of them.
And the horse he beat last time out came back to earn an 81 Beyer speed figure when third in a maiden special. It's a long time maiden, but that Beyer, a good barometer that maybe this horse is on the improve. Home Brew is the number 4 winner, 2 starts back and a 1 other than in his final start at 2. That was the one and only time he raced with Lasix. He was without it in the Smarty Jones over a wet track last time out. He took a lot of money in that race. He was probably in just a little bit too tough. And hey, he might not have loved that wet track. He's 2 for 2 on fast going.
Yeah, he had the wet track excuse. It was probably maybe, just one of those races that's too tough for him. He also couldn't make the lead there. They didn't send for it, but I don't think he was going to get it anyway, Dan. That pace was pretty solid. At the end of the day, he didn't run well in there. He was really no match for those horses. I know he won his first 2-turn race there back in December, but I mean, he just got absolutely loose on the lead that day. And it's not like that was such an impressive performance that you need this horse at a short price either. Can he win here? He definitely can. I wouldn't take too short a price on him.
Long Crow, the number 5, Calumet Farm, homebred son of Keen Ice, certainly bred to get the mile and an eighth. This horse doesn't have a lot of speed. The pace wasn't fast last time out, and that he was actually within striking distance after the first quarter mile or so. He didn't fire. He finished behind the skipper, too. They're hoping the blinkers wake him up, but his 2 wins thus far against much weaker.
Yeah, against much weaker, just in races that I guess came back to him at least a little bit. Then he's got no speed at all. He did nothing last time. I know two-back he was in against Zozos, but he did nothing there either. I thought it was pretty hard to like.
Maybe I'd like the number 6, the skipper, too, if he was ridden by Jack Gilligan instead of Ricardo Santana Jr., but, the millionaire and his wife with the skipper, too. Let's watch his last start, 1 other than going a mile and a 16th. This was the race where he finished ahead of Long Crow. And again, not a lot of pace in behind horses. I don't know, Mike. Listen, he's really not firing that hard in the stretch, but I thought it was a useful effort. I think he might lack a little bit of upside after 11 starts, but I have a feeling he'll grind at a mile and an eighth. And the 4th horse of this race came back to win with an 83 Beyer.
Yeah, that's a good point that you make about the distance, because it does feel like the 9 furlong distance of this race is going to come into play at some point. And maybe this horse will just handle it better than some of the others. He was obviously no threat to that 2 to 5 shot winning last time. But his last 2 starts are significant Beyer tops for this horse. I mean, it feels like he's really improved. If nothing else, he's really improved in his last 2 starts.
Fascinating horse is the 7, Happy Boy Rocket. Vilmot does not do this very often. And that's wheel horses back in a week. I think in Formulator, the last time he did that was Casa Creed when that horse won a maiden in an off-turf race in New York. It's been a long time. He doesn't do it. This horse is just a little bit of a nut job. He's getting blinkers, and you understand why. He broke through the gate prior to the start of his last race. Then he missed the break completely. We're going to pick it up in the stretch. It's a muddy track race going a mile and a 16th, and he did a lot of hard work just to get into it, and he's going to flatten out and finish 3rd. He won with blinkers at Gulfstream in a maiden race going a mile and a 16th. That race is good enough to make him a contender. What do you make of Mott wheeling him back on short notice?
Yeah, I thought that was pretty interesting that he comes back. He just ran here last Saturday. He comes right back. Listen, the more I looked at this race, Dan, he's 5 to 1 on the line. I kind of feel like he's the horse to beat, just based off of his first 2 starts. The 2 starts on fast dirt, because I really liked his maiden win, and I thought he ran really well sprinting in his debut. And I can make enough excuses for his last 2 starts to just feel like he's maybe the horse to beat in this race. That doesn't mean I would want a short price on him, but I feel like if he gets the right trip in here, he just might be a little bit better than this field.
Before we get to our top picks, remember to hit the subscribe button on the Daily Racing Form YouTube channel. Have instant access to all of DRF TV's latest video offerings, Derby Watch, Derby Clock reports, Race of the Day, stakes previews, etc. Top pick time for the Oaklawn Stakes, kicking off the pick 5. Mike, I like Happy Boy Rocket in here. I wonder if I'm going to get the 5 to 1.
I didn't think you were. That's why I didn't put him on top. I feel like at that price, he's probably great value. I think he's going to go favorite. I think he probably should go favorite. To me, he's the horse to beat. I'm going to try Kuchar. I liked his last race, and I feel like he's going to get the 9 furlongs.
Mike, you're quoting those Formulator trainer stats. Remember, free Formulator past performances when you wager with DRF Bets. Kuchar, a lot of upside potential. The light bulb might go on with the blinkers. 3-7 for Mike. I'm going Happy Boy Rocket off the short turnaround for Bill Mott. I think this distance is going to be okay for him. Big strapping son of Run Happy. Nice card on Saturday at Oaklawn Apple Blossom, Oaklawn Handicap, Oaklawn Stakes. Lots more. Good luck.